Welcome back everyone. In this video, let's learn about asynchronous actions with React and Redux. Earlier in the series, we had a look at async actions in a vanilla JavaScript application that makes use of Redux. This video is going to be very similar, except that we now have React, which can be used to render the UI in a browser. For the sake of completeness, I am going to quickly recollect what we have already learned about async actions and also the application we are going to be building. Let's get started. When it comes to actions, we have two types, synchronous and asynchronous. With synchronous actions, as soon as an action is dispatched, the state is immediately updated. If you dispatch the buy cake action, the number of cakes right away decrements by 1. If you dispatch the buy ice cream action, the number of ice creams right away decrements by 1. With async actions, it is slightly different. You now wait for a task to complete before dispatching your action. A typical use case is making an API call, waiting for the response, and then dispatching an action based on the response. This is something we do often in web applications, so it is crucial to understand this pattern. Before we dive into the code on async actions though, let us first understand what we need to accomplish with our application. The application we are going to build simply fetches a list of users from an API endpoint, stores it in the Redux store, and then renders it in the browser. Let's quickly recollect how our state is going to look like, what are the different actions, and how the reducer would work. Once that is clear, let's write the code. First, let's talk about the state of our application. Typically, with data fetching, we go with 3 properties for the state object. The first property is a loading flag, which indicates whether the data is currently being fetched or not. In our application, this flag would help us display a loading spinner in the component. The next property we would have is the data itself. The data in our example is a list of users. The initial state though, we would have an empty array as no users have been loaded yet. The final property is an error message. Now our API request might fail for some reason. In that scenario, instead of getting back the data, we get an error which we store in the error property. This message can be used to display the error to the user. So that is our state object. Next, let's talk about the actions. We are going to have 3 actions in our application. The first one is to fetch the list of users from the API endpoint. The action type would be fetch_users_request. The second and third actions are dependent on the first one. If the data was fetched successfully, we have an action with type as fetch_users_success. If there was an error fetching the data, we have an action with type as fetch_users_failure. So we have 3 actions. Finally, the reducer. If the action type is fetch_users_request, we basically set loading to true. If the action type is fetch_users_success, we set loading to false and users to the data returned from the API. If the action type is fetch_users_failure, we set loading to false and error to the error returned by the API. And that is pretty much our application. So with these points in mind, let's go back to our editor and implement the code. I'm going to start off by creating a new file called usercontainer.js. Within this file, I'm going to use the snippet rfce to create a function component. This will be the component where we render the list of users. Next, let's focus on our Redux store. Within the Redux folder, I'm going to create a new folder called user. Within this folder, we need to include 3 files. One for actions, one for action types, and one for the reducer. Let's start with the action types. I'm going to create a new file called usertypes.js. We have 3 action types which I'm going to copy paste. Fetch users request, success, and failure. Next, let's define our action creators in a new file called useractions.js. Again, to save us some time, and since we've already been through this before, I'm going to copy paste the 3 action creators. The first one is to fetch the data. So we just have the type property set to fetch_users_request. The second action creator is to store the list of users if the request was successful. So we have the type which is fetch_users_success and payload equal to the list of users that is present as a parameter. The final one is to store the error message if the request failed. The type is fetch_users_failure and the payload is the error message that was passed in as a parameter. Let's also make sure we import the action types. So at the top, import the 3 action types from the user types file. Alright, now let's define our reducer function. I'm going to create a new file called userreducer.js. I'll start off by copy pasting the initial state of this reducer. We have loading set to false, users an empty array, and error an empty string. Next, I'm going to copy paste the reducer function. So if the action type is fetch users request, we set loading to true. If the action type is fetch users success, we set loading to false, users to the action payload, and error to an empty string. If the action type is fetch users failure, we set loading to false, users to an empty array, and error message to the action payload. Make sure you export the reducer as a default export and also import all the action types at the top. The next step is to export all our action creators from user actions. Now, rather than specifying all the export, you can simply say in index.js export star from /user/user actions. This exports all the 3 action creators. The final step is to include user reducer in our combine reducers function. So in root reducer.js, import user reducer from /user/user reducer and specify as the third key value pair user reducer. And that pretty much is the code for actions, state, and the reducer. What is left now is to use async actions to make an API call, dispatch the appropriate actions that we have defined already, and render the list of users in the browser. Let's see how to proceed with that in the next video.